So I'm interested in the notion that you weren't trying to disrupt anybody. Did it ever occur to you, when did it occur to you that actually you were having an impact on an entire industry?
Somebody was attending a cocktail party at which the CEO of Salomon Brothers asked who was behind our company that was challenging the status quo in a way that was upsetting to him. So, and I was kind of like, well, there's no one behind us. We're fools out here. But I think that my opinion of where we are as a company is that our greatest disruptions are ahead of us. I think we've done some very nice things. I'm proud of who we are. We have a journey that Jody knows about, which is that we raised a tremendous amount of venture capital in the late 1990s. And then we decided we're not going to go public. We're not going to sell, which is an unusual path to take. We're going to buy back all of our venture capital investors at a premium to what they invested in 10 years ago at super high, ridiculous valuations when we raised far too much money, far much more than we needed. So 10 years later, 2007, 2008, we're like, let's start repaying them. Then the market falls 50%. So we've been through, when we started the business, I was 6'5" with a full head of hair. And I think I look great now. I don't know why you're laughing. But we have just, on April 1st, we made, fittingly, the final payment. So we're now 100% privately held.
Wow.
Thank you. And really what we clap for when we talk about that internally is we now have all of the capital to reinvest in our business, and we don't see very much change having taken place in finance. There are certainly areas of like increased skepticism because of what happened in 2008, 2009. But remember that Alan Greenspan, who is someone that I admire, even though I know his reputation has taken some hits here over the last 5+ years, said that he was very surprised to learn that in the financial services industry, people did not have a high level of loyalty to their organization. Their compensation system was such that they would go for that one-year bonus with leverage, short-term speculation, and they would put the long-term success of that organization at risk for their own personal reward system. And that surprised him. We had been sitting and watching that and observing that happen year in and year out. So I think that financial services is about to be hit by a tsunami of transparency.
Save that. We're going to come back to that. So I think it's.
I've got about an hour and a half talk on that prepared for later.
One thing I was going to comment on just this notion of self-consciously trying to disrupt versus. I mean, Tom, you said you weren't. CEB wasn't. How about you? Were you consciously going into this world? Yeah, you're a lawyer.
Since first grade.
Were you constantly?
I was conscious.
You were consciously thinking this world need to be.
I think I just saw an opportunity where people were excited about this other thing they could have. I didn't view it as, oh, I'm going to disrupt the market. And I feel that's, and we were talking a little bit before, and even at the Motley Fool, which has done so much disruption and has so much innovation, it was incrementally, or at least I gather that it was, and same with us. It's been incremental.
So I'm trying to say something I probably shouldn't say. I was thrilled to be in your and Dina's article. I was so happy that BTG was mentioned. But I had to scratch my head because it never really occurred to me when we were talking about what BTG would be, that we would be a disruptor of consulting. That was not our mission. You know, our mission is actually much bigger than that. I mean, it's, you know, and my analogy is Amazon. You know, when Jeff Bezos started Amazon, if you go back to those early interviews, he says his vision was to be the largest e-commerce platform in the world. He named the company Amazon because it's the widest, biggest river. And he chose books as the first entry point and didn't call it books.com because it was the most natural place to get the consumer comfortable using this new technology. And when I think about companies like BTG, I think our real mission is a global talent platform that makes it a more efficient market, that lets people work differently, that lets companies work differently. And when I read that we were disruptive consulting, I thought, oh, well, that's nice. That's a nice thing to be on the way to where we want to go. But it was never the vision. And you know what I think we did was just like Jeff. You know, we said, what's the natural entry point where what you were saying, Firoz, exactly, where customers are comfortable doing something a little different. They already hire consultants. They already use outsiders. But now it's just a slightly different way of accessing this incredible talent pool. So I think the question of disruption as a deliberate strategy versus finding a market opportunity, being interested in something, and then finding out, oh my God, we're actually shaking things up. And when McKinsey starts bidding below us to beat us, we start looking at each other, and go, what's happening here? That shouldn't be happening. That's crazy, right? But it's just, I'm curious from an intellectual and academic point of view, Derek, do you ever think about, are most successful disruptors trying to be disruptors?
I don't know. One attribute of successful disruption is that the existing providers whom you are disrupting ignore you for long enough that you gain a beachhead. So, probably, I'm guessing, not. Probably when you're starting a new business, you're so consumed with that business that you're not thinking about the enemy who's turning and ignoring you or fleeing up market. But they do eventually wake up and, to their chagrin, discover that while they've been ignoring you, you've now secured a position in the marketplace that they cannot attack. I guess that makes sense.